That black stain in your bathroom might not just be dirt. And the scary part is, most people don't realize how fast it spreads until it's already inside the walls. It starts small. A corner near the ceiling, around the shower, behind a cabinet, under a window. First, it looks harmless. Just a dark spot. Maybe moisture. Maybe old paint. So people ignore it. For weeks. Sometimes months. But black mold doesn't stay where it starts. Because mold isn't growing on the surface. It's feeding underneath it. Inside tiny pores. Inside drywall. Inside wood. Inside places you can't see. And once moisture stays trapped long enough, the colony expands quietly. That's why some homes suddenly develop that heavy smell. The damp, almost earthy odor. That's not just humidity. That's biological growth spreading through microscopic surfaces. Now here's where things get strange. Most people think mold only appears in dirty homes. But that's not true. Mold cares about one thing. Moisture. That's it. A spotless house with trapped moisture can grow mold faster than a messy dry one. And modern homes accidentally create the perfect environment for it. Tighter insulation. Less airflow. Sealed windows. Warm bathrooms. Steam. Condensation. Everything mold loves. Now here's the really frustrating part. Most mold sprays don't actually solve the problem. They bleach the surface. That's it. The dark color disappears. But the growth underneath often survives. That's why mold keeps coming back to the exact same spot. Again. And again. And again. Because surface cleaning and mold elimination are not the same thing. Now here's where this gets interesting. Decades ago, before expensive mold products filled store shelves, people used simple acidic and alkaline mixtures to control fungal growth naturally. Not because it was trendy, because it worked. Especially in humid climates. Farmhouses, basements, storage rooms, old kitchens. People understood something modern advertising rarely mentions. Mold survives through environment, not just visibility. That's the secret. And one simple kitchen mixture became surprisingly effective at interrupting that environment. White vinegar and baking soda. Simple. Already sitting inside millions of homes. Now here's the important part most people misunderstand. These ingredients work differently together than most chemical sprays. Bleach often removes color, but vinegar targets acidity levels mold struggles to survive in, especially on non-porous surfaces. Researchers studying household mold discovered that vinegar can kill a large percentage of common mold species directly on contact surfaces. Not perfectly, not instantly, but surprisingly effectively for something sitting beside salad dressing in a kitchen cabinet. Now combine that with baking soda, and something else happens. Moisture control, odor absorption, surface disruption. Because mold doesn't just need spores. It needs conditions. Moisture, still air. And once those conditions break, growth slows dramatically. Now here's where most people make a mistake. They wait too long. That tiny black corner becomes a larger colony. The colony reaches deeper surfaces. Drywall absorbs moisture. Wood framing traps humidity. And suddenly, the problem becomes expensive. That's why early treatment matters so much. Not panic. Now imagine this. You notice a small dark patch forming near your bathroom ceiling. Most people ignore it. Weeks pass. Steam continues building after every shower. Moisture collects. Airflow stays weak. And the colony slowly spreads wider underneath the paint itself. By the time it becomes obvious, the surface damage already started. Now compare that to interrupting the environment early, drying the area, improving airflow, treating the surface before deep penetration happens. Huge difference. Now here's something most homeowners never realize. Bathrooms are basically mold laboratories. Warm air, constant moisture, minimal ventilation, repeated condensation, especially after hot showers. That's why bathroom ceilings develop mold faster than most other places in the house. Not because bathrooms are dirty, because the environment stays damp repeatedly. Now here's where airflow becomes critical. Mold struggles in dry moving air. That's why older homes with strong ventilation sometimes developed less visible mold despite having fewer modern materials. Air movement matters more than people think. Now here's another hidden issue. Especially cheap paint. Many paints absorb microscopic moisture over time. And once moisture remains trapped repeatedly, mold spores begin attaching underneath surface layers. That's why wiping mold away often doesn't solve anything long-term. The environment remains unchanged. Now here's where this $1 kitchen mix became common historically. Basements, root cellars, farm storage rooms, old kitchens, laundry areas. People used vinegar-based cleaning solutions long before modern anti-mold products existed. Because acidic cleaning interrupted fungal growth surprisingly well on exposed surfaces. Simple. Hard to monetize. Now modern mold products often rely heavily on fear marketing, toxic warnings, special formulas, industrial branding, and some work very well. But many homeowners never realize basic environmental control matters even more. Because mold needs conditions to survive. Take away moisture, air stagnation, and trapped humidity, and growth slows dramatically. Now here's something researchers discovered during indoor air studies. Many homes with mold problems also had poor ventilation patterns, especially bathrooms without proper exhaust airflow. Steam collected repeatedly, then condensed onto ceilings and walls. Every single day. That repeated moisture cycle matters enormously. Now think about how many bathrooms stay damp for hours after showers. Warm surfaces, fog mirrors, wet walls, heavy humid air. That moisture doesn't disappear instantly. It settles, and microscopic spores use it constantly. Now here's the part people rarely think about. Black mold isn't always one specific species. Many dark molds appear visually similar. That's why surface appearance alone doesn't tell the whole story. But regardless of type, moisture remains the common trigger. Now imagine two bathrooms. Same house, same climate, same cleaning routine. But one dries quickly after showers, and the other traps humidity for hours. The second bathroom develops mold dramatically faster. Not because it's dirtier, because moisture remained trapped longer. Now here's another hidden issue. Shower curtains, bath mitts, wet towels, all slowly releasing moisture into enclosed spaces. Especially bathrooms with poor airflow. Everything contributes together. Now here's where people accidentally make mold worse. They paint over it, temporarily hiding the stain, while moisture and fungal growth continue underneath. That's why mold often comes back through paint. It never actually left. Now here's where vinegar becomes useful. The acidity helps disrupt many common mold species directly on exposed surfaces, especially when applied repeatedly during early stage growth. And baking soda helps absorb residual moisture while reducing odor. Not magic. Environmental disruption. That's the real mechanism. Now here's another thing most people misunderstand. Mold spreads through spores. Tiny microscopic particles constantly moving through air. That's why disturbing mold aggressively without addressing moisture can actually spread contamination wider. Now imagine a damp bathroom corner repeatedly exposed to steam every single day. The surface never fully dries. Humidity stays high. Spores continue attaching, and growth slowly expands outward week after week. That's why stopping moisture matters more than surface appearance alone. Now here's where old houses become fascinating. Many older homes accidentally controlled mold better through natural airflow. Cross ventilation, higher ceilings, passive air movement. Modern sealed homes often trap humidity far more aggressively. Comfort created a new problem. Now here's another strange thing. People often notice mold problems worsening during summer. Not because summer creates mold directly, because warm humid air increases condensation behavior inside enclosed spaces, especially bathrooms and poorly ventilated rooms. Now think about how often people shut bathroom doors immediately after showering. Steam trapped inside, moisture trapped inside, warm air trapped inside. Perfect fungal conditions. Now here's where this simple kitchen mix works best. Early stage surface growth. Small areas. Moisture-prone surfaces. Regular maintenance. Interrupting conditions before deep structural spread begins. That's the key. Early control. Now here's the scary part. Many homeowners don't notice mold until smell appears. And by then, moisture may already exist behind surfaces themselves. That's why leaks matter so much. A tiny leak inside a wall can feed mold for months unnoticed. Quietly. Constantly. Now here's another hidden problem. Condensation near windows. Especially during temperature differences between indoor and outdoor air. Water slowly collects around edges, then disappears, then returns again. Tiny moisture cycles repeated endlessly. Exactly what mold wants. Now imagine instead a bathroom that dries quickly, air moving properly, humidity escaping, surfaces staying dry. The environment changes completely. That's what interrupts mold growth most effectively. Not fear, not expensive branding, moisture control. Now here's something restoration experts understand very well. Mold problems often reveal airflow problems first. Poor ventilation, hidden leaks, trapped humidity. That's why treating surfaces without fixing moisture usually fails long-term. The environment stays active. Now think about this. Millions of homeowners repeatedly spray bleach onto the same spots every month, without changing airflow, without reducing humidity, without stopping condensation, and then wonder why the mold keeps returning. The surface changed. The environment didn't. That's the difference. Now here's where baking soda becomes surprisingly useful. Beyond cleaning, it helps absorb odor and residual moisture, especially in enclosed damp spaces. Simple household chemistry. Nothing exotic. Now here's the ironic part. People spend enormous amounts on advanced mold products, while ignoring basic ventilation completely. Meanwhile, a bathroom fan left running longer after showers often changes more than expensive sprays alone, because dry surfaces resist mold dramatically better than damp ones. Now here's another hidden reason mold spreads fast. Darkness. Many mold-prone spaces receive poor sunlight exposure. Under sinks, corners, closets, bathrooms, basements, and stagnant dark moisture creates ideal fungal conditions. Now imagine catching the problem early. Small spot, surface treatment, humidity reduction, airflow improvement. The entire situation changes before structural spread begins. That's the real advantage. Now to be clear, large mold infestations require serious remediation, especially deep wall contamination, leaks inside structures, large ceiling spread, health-sensitive environments. This isn't magic, but for early-stage surface growth, environmental control matters enormously. And that's what this simple kitchen mix helps interrupt. Now imagine walking into your bathroom, and instead of that heavy damp smell, the air feels dry, neutral. No spreading dark patches near the ceiling. No returning stains around corners. No constant fear that the problem keeps growing silently behind surfaces. That difference matters more than people realize. Because mold isn't just about appearance. It's about environment. And once the environment changes, everything changes with it. Now here's the truth most homeowners never hear. Mold doesn't spread because homes are dirty. It spreads because moisture stays trapped too long. That's the real cause. And once you understand that, you stop fighting stains and start controlling conditions instead. Because sometimes, the most powerful fix isn't expensive. It's simple, early, and already sitting inside your kitchen.